mgtow. It's Muslim mgtow. And I am doing a video today because I got my latest edition of Game Informer here. The latest edition of Game Informer. And in it, they have an article called The Importance of Seeing Pussies, Confident Women in Video Games. Pussies! Now, I'm going to read over this article with you guys. Because, you know, Game Informer just royally pissed me off when they put this shit on. I mean, I thought Gamergate was over. I thought the whole Gamergate thing was over, but apparently not. The simps and the no pussy getting fucking guys at Game Informer decided, hey, I'll be at SJW, see if this will get me laid. Instead of just saying, hey, I fucking write a real big magazine, that would have got you laid just fine. No, you had to fucking, let me add women's fucking drama and bullshit to my male gaming magazine. I mean, it's just a gaming magazine. It's not targeted just to men, but games in general are targeted towards men. So that would mean all the accessories and magazines and all that shit around it is also targeting men, because men actually play fucking video games. We actually spend the money on that shit. Okay, let's read what this dumb bitch has got to say. The importance of seeing strong, confident women in video games, by Kimberly Wallace, feature editor. Strong female role models didn't abound while I was growing up in the 80s and 90s. Bitch, what about Ripley? Okay, next. And not only that, but she seemed like the most competent. Ripley seemed like now I understand that's just one, but if I was given more time, because this is just on the fly, okay? Because this is just on the fly. Ripley is one prime example of a strong female lead character who actually behaved like a fucking woman. She did some stupid women shit that I didn't like. But for the most part, she was a strong fucking female lead character. That was just one. And there are plenty more where that came from in the 80s and the 90s. She's not the only one. But okay. And this applies to all forms of media. Many female characters felt shoehorned into their story for marketing purposes or as eye candy, while their male counterparts stole the spotlight. Okay, Princess Leia. Oh, she says right here, Princess Leia, She-Ra. Yeah. And Princess, and then in gaming, it's Princess Peach and Zelda. Although I know they were damsels, they also are fighters as well. They fight in their stories. In fact, in Hyrule Warriors, Super Mario. Not Mario World 2. Peach is an actual playable character in Mario World 2. Boy, listen. But besides that, that represents about how many women were actually interested in the medium at the time. Bitches act like they forgot that in the 80s and 90s, when the fucking medium was out, that you bitches was always, well, the video games are corny. Video games are for losers. That was the attitude of women in the 80s and the 90s. So why should we put you in video games if that's your attitude? Your attitude is, oh well, video games are for losers. Well, if you told me your attitude was video games are for losers, and I'm making a video game right now, well, I wouldn't dare bother asking you if you want to be in my full motion video capture. Why would I ask you that? This shit is fucking stupid. Let's see. Let's keep on reading this dumbass article. Video games were exactly teeming with the best representations. Tara Branford stands out as one of the more positive ones. Ooh, I don't even know who the fuck that is. Unless that's Tara from the Teen Titans, which has been around since the fucking 40s. Okay, and while Laura Croft was empowering, there you go, Laura Croft. She was also turned into more to a male fantasy than a person. Well, yet again, this has something to do with the fact that women felt that the whole medium was corny, didn't want to have anything to do with the medium until more recently, where now people are making money off of it, where men have made it popular, and now we have been able to make $1 million fucking incomes off of it. Bitches now want to join in on the fun. Now they would be like, oh well, we don't have. Soon they're gonna be like, oh well, women are not properly represented in esports. Well, bitch, when? Nobody said you couldn't join the tournament. And no, we're not gonna start a separate tournament for girls, so girl gamers could feel empowered. Yo, fuck you. Go to the same tournaments with the men. All right, it ain't no physicality there. It's all mental and button pressing. Whoever got the best mind and the better button presses wins. Even a girl could do that. All right, let's keep moving. Saving Princess Peach and Zelda serves as damsels in distress. Princess Peach and Zelda both kick ass. Princess Peach kicks major ass. Princess Zelda kicks major ass. And she turns into her fucking bodyguard who kicks even more ass. So, yes, Zelda is always taken in the story of The Legend of Zelda. She's always taken, yes, that is true. But she's also very integral to the story as well. She's also a very strong female lead. She's feminine. That's the problem with most of you women. You don't see being feminine as having some strength. Okay? That takes a lot of mental strength to be feminine. Okay? Which men don't have the mental strength for. That's not something we were built to do. To have that kind of mental strength. So, let's keep on going. Princess Leia. No, Princess Peach and Zelda. So that was a stress. He's saying, film and TV didn't do me the favors either. She-Ra and Princess Leia were about as good as it got. I mean, that's not to mention Storm, that's not to mention Storm, who's like one of the most powerful female characters ever. Jean Grey, one of the most powerful female characters ever. She's like the most powerful character in X-Men. Next to fucking the one above all others, and the fucking what's the fucking guy, the antimatter, the fucking the anti-monitor. Yeah, there we go. Anti-monitor, shit that strong. What about all of those strong female fucking characters. And she's one of the leaders of the X-Men, by the way. Yeah, forget about that. Let's forget about that. You know, fucking. What's her name? The Invisible Girl from the Fantastic Four, who she was by all means, she was no background character. She wasn't just there for eye candy. Who else was there? Shit, and I forget the girl name in He-Man, but there was the girl that was right there next to He-Man. I forget her name because I only see the show a few times. Is there anybody else I can think of offhand? Not right now, but I'll get back to it. In fact, I didn't even grow to appreciate Leia's strength until the more recent movies where she leads the Resistance with such grace and dignity. I mean, besides the fact that, you know, she got more kills with her blaster against the stormtroopers than fucking Luke. Besides that fact. Besides the fact that when she was being rescued by them, she did more rescuing of them. Let's just forget about that. Forget about in all the comics with Princess Leia. Princess Leia was a major fighter in the Resistance. Forget the fact that she started to learn the Force because at one point Luke couldn't do the Force. I forget exactly what his circumstances were, but Princess Leia had to fucking learn how to use the Force and a lightsaber because Luke was out of commission. I often wonder if I saw a powerful lead like Rey defeating villains and rescuing allies with the power of the Force, my viewpoint would have been different. Her viewpoint would have been different about life. I highly doubt it. Most women see strong women on TV all the time, and then in real life, you don't ever see them taking fucking responsibility for anything. Shit, Susan B. Anthony was here hundreds of years ago. You know, you could easily read about her in any history book, and you know, bitches ain't running around trying to be Susan B. Anthony. Bitches not running around talking about some, oh well, you know, I did the same crime as a man while they're deliberating the sentencing for a woman. Women don't say, oh, no, I've seen you lock up 100 men for the same crime and give them all 20 years. And now you're just giving me 5 years of probation for killing my husband? No, that's not fair. You should give me at least 15 years with the max out of 20. You don't hear bitches say no shit like that. Ever. Never heard no shit like that. My earliest gaming moment of the impact of leading woman on screen is Parasite Eve's Aya Bria. I didn't play Parasite Eve, but I think I've seen it, of course. During a small moment in the opera scene when all hell breaks loose, Aya pushes her data size, says she'll handle it, and charges straight into the action. She's merely an NYPD rookie, but that doesn't stop her from trusting her instincts and risking her life to find answers. It was rare for me to see a woman trusting her own abilities to get the job done, especially without needing a man by her side. It stuck with me to this day. Well, let's see. This article came out in 2018. And in 2018, after 80 years of feminism, 70 years of feminism, with all of these strong women on TV, Oprahs, and all your Rosie O'Donnells, and all of this shit. You mean to tell me you never seen a strong woman on TV? You mean to tell me Oprah's not a strong woman? Rosie O'Donnell's not a strong woman? All of that, Oprah's talk show is one of the longest running talk shows ever. She's not a strong woman. But beyond that, you know what, sweetheart, you're right. In real life, I've never seen a woman just push men aside. Pushing men aside. Get out the way, man. I'll handle this. Lives are being lost. I'll handle this. To this day, they're still writing articles whenever you see a woman do a brave act. Like, this shit is like, you know, like that's not something that men do every day. Now, granted, I'm not going to sit up here and act like men don't do it too. They don't do it for men too. Because they certainly do it for men too. Whenever a man does something that's heroic and he's not in a job where that's the case. If he's not a police officer and he goes out and risks his neck for someone, then yeah, people, you know, tend to they write articles about that guy, but they don't do that when it's a male police officer. Male police officer risks his life. That's just his job. Male security guard risks his life. That's just his job. But if a female military fucking medic, a field medic in the military will get wrote about if she's female and runs into the line, the line of fire, like men do, she gets written about. So yeah, it's rare for me to see a woman trusting her own abilities too. You ain't saying nothing that ain't actual life. Oh boy, I need to lay down. My back is bad. Now that I'm older, I've been reevaluating how I've come to be the person I am and where I can improve. I keep going back to my childhood. I've certainly had more opportunities to seize than my mother, grandmother, and generations prior. Way more opportunities than any generation of women have ever had. And women have always had opportunities. Women have always been able to graduate college and finish school and do things like that. Women have always been able to go into schools. They just were never capable. They had one of the most famous or prevalent school, one of the most prevalent schools of like the 1800s. I forget exactly what the name of the school was, but this was a school in Africa. And this school, they had like the 7% of their graduation class in the 1800s. 7% of it were women. I can't remember exactly the name of the school. But 7% of this graduating class was women. And what it showed to me was, even before America made women able to go to school, women were already able to go to school. They just either weren't choosing to go, or they didn't have what it takes to make it into those schools. So, saying, that you're not seeing enough women in video games, whatever medium, it's because more women are not going for those positions. If they were going for those positions, I'm sure they would get them. There's no place in America, especially, where women are just being told, oh, you're not able to be hired. There's nowhere in America where they're not saying that. And I don't think anybody has a problem with putting beautiful fucking women in front of their camera. No man has that issue, especially. So. But I still frequently feel feelings. No proof, nothing that actual prove what she's talking about. She's not actually treated like a second-class citizen. I frequently feel like a second-class citizen. I was never encouraged to speak out or be expected to have the right answer. Well, that's because you're stupid. Okay? If you're not encouraged to speak out,
or have the right answer, then that's probably because the people around you know that you're fucking stupid. Okay? I have a cousin. His name is Andrew. I don't encourage him to speak out at all or encourage him to have the right answer. I mean, I encourage him to have the right answer. I encourage him to fucking learn some shit. But I certainly don't encourage him to speak out. And I don't encourage him to say, just to have the right answer if he doesn't have the right answer. I encourage him to go look for it, yes. Yeah, so I don't expect him to have the right answer because he's fucking retarded. I don't expect retards to have the answer. That's why no one expects you, Princess Snowflake. That's why no one expects you to have the right answer. Because you're a fucking loser, weirdo, dumbass. I was not taught to celebrate my talents or acknowledge my worth. Now that is total horseshit. That is total horseshit. Especially if she had a dad. I don't know too many women who have dads. I don't know too many women who have dads and then can actually honestly say that their dad didn't encourage them. If you listen to dads from the 90s, from the 80s, from the 70s, 60s, if you listen to dads and watch TV shows where there are dads on the show, dads do the same thing that they've been doing in the 50s and 60s, and they're still doing the same things today. Still doing the same things today. What am I talking about? Whenever a man comes into their daughter's life, we very much vet them. We threaten them. Yo, man, you take my daughter out? All right, look, man, you better have my daughter back here by 9:59. If my daughter come back at 10:01, I'm coming for you. All right, you see my boy right here? Who this nigga? Oh, this nigga. Hold up. Chitty chitty bang bang. I don't know if y'all saw Bad Boys 2. Will Smith and damn, I can't even remember the fucking guys. Martin Lawrence. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. Yeah. That one scene, it's very, very indicative of what, men do whenever there's another man entering into my pride, for instance. We're very much hard on each other. And we actually celebrate any and everything that women do. That's why you have this fucking article in the Game Informer in the first place, when you were probably a little girl and called all those guys that you're working around nerds as you were coming up, especially since you sound like you're about 40 years old, coming up watching shows in the 80s. So you're about 40 years old. So yeah, you definitely were a part of that group of women that was calling gaming as a medium a place for dorks and losers. That was you. Kimberly Wallace. That was you. Ridiculing men for their mediums that we use to get away from bitches like you. And now you want to come into the medium talking about some you ain't represented enough. Bitch, I should slap the shit out of you. You ain't celebrating your talent. The fuck out of here. Acknowledge your worth. What worth do you have? This? These problems are not exclusive to women, but they're much more common in women for a reason. Because the reason is you guys suck at everything. You're not better than us in any way, shape, or form at any fucking thing. It's learned behavior, a symptom of societal rules. You know what else is a symptom of societal rules? Fucking cell phones. Fucking Game Informer magazines. Houses. If it was up to women, if we were living in a matriarchal society, we would still be living in the fucking Stone Ages. How do you know? Look at all the matriarchal societies that are around today. They're in the Stone Ages. They ain't going nowhere. They have no growth. No one's advancing any technology. Because women are in charge. You know, so switching the societal roles would mean that you be actually women, you would be more oppressed. And you would be sitting in the fucking field somewhere with a fucking loincloth wrapped around your ass and then trying to beat men off of you with a stick because there ain't no system in place called rape or laws of rape or any of that shit. Bitch, I want you, you mine. And you don't like it, well, go get your dad. And then me and your dad will fight it out. And when I kill him or he kills me, you either go back to what you was doing before I came in your life, or you're going to follow me because I done won that ass in this fight for the death. Okay? That's what you looking for. As explained in Susan Gollenbach and Robin Fivish's book, Gender Development, boys tend to obtain more attention than girls in the classroom. Well, obviously this bitch doesn't know a damn thing because if she was paying any attention, first of all, how do women tend to even justify in their mind that men would get more attention than women anywhere? Like anywhere. You know, that makes no fucking sense. Because men are most of the workforce. Most men are single. Most men are single. Men are most of the workforce. Most men lean towards helping women more than helping men. And then when it comes to school, just on school, women graduate more than men. It's been going on since the 90s. Women have been graduating more than men since the 90s. So I don't see how girls could tend to get less attention in the classroom when all the boys that are in the classroom are distracted by the girls because we just keep all we doing is giving them attention all day, looking at them and shit. And then the teacher, who's, well, nowadays is female, but if it was a male teacher, shit, he giving them attention too. Look at this little young thing with perky ass titties. He gonna give his attention to a guy with a 6-pack, or he gonna give his attention to this girl with the 4-pack with the nice tits? Give my attention to the girl with the nice tits. Just saying, you know, I don't know how women tend to think, especially in the gender development, where women are developing, how they would get less attention than a guy developing. Makes no sense. And collect more praise for their knowledge and correct answers. That's also bullshit either, because women get praised even for wrong answers. Okay, girls receive reinforcement for compliance and more likely to be reprimanded for incorrect answers. Research by psychologists cited in Gollenbach and Fivish's book showcases that by the time children are in 4th and 5th grade, 90% of positive feedback given to boys is for their intellectual performance, but less than 80% praise given to girls is for intellectual performance. Yeah, but there's also way more girls in the classrooms now. Way more girls. And since women are stupid, they have a higher likelihood of giving a wrong answer. So if I have 40 girls and 25 guys, 80% of 40 girls is still more than 90% of 25 guys. Okay? I mean, all right, let's do some math. Okay? What's 80% of 40 people? That would be 30. What's what's the other number I said? Oh, 90. Yeah, 90% of 25. I don't know that one right offhand, but hold on, let me get my calculator. The women are already winning on that note because there's 30 women there. There's 30 women who got correct answers versus less than 25 guys who got the correct answer. Okay, so that's already the case. Let's just make sure we get this right. 0.9 times 25 equals 22.5. So you still got 8 more women in class getting right answers than men at your percentile rate. You know, even if we could cut those numbers in half, because ain't no classrooms in high school are going to be 60 people. So let's cut that in half. 12.5 versus 20. 80% of 20 is 15. 12.5 is still you're starting off with less men right away. Then 90% of 12.5, 11, maybe 10. Okay, so there's still more women in the class that are, getting correct answers and being praised for it numerically than men. That echoes my experience as a young girl. This echoes my experience as a young girl. Well, I already told you you're pretty fucking stupid. So that's probably why it echoes your experience. Self-confidence is an important yet difficult skill to learn. That's why I love Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn. Here's a young woman who knows her capabilities and speaks out when people doubt her. She lived the life of an outcast. She is she's nothing, and yet she still sees her value and believes in her ability to do great things. Playing Zero Dawn, I felt inspired. I couldn't get away from how refreshing it was to see her speak confidently at every turn, never second guessing when confronted. After I kept being impressed by this part of her, I started to think more about it and became solemn. Shouldn't this be something I'm used to seeing by now? Well, I don't know. With all these years of feminism that have been going on since before you're only 40. You know, all of these years of feminism, you should be, more used to it by now. But you're not. Why is that? Because you can't change women's natures. Women by nature are weak, worthless. Weak and worthless. If they were strong and powerful, she'd have her own Game Informer magazine that was being fucking advertised to women. It wouldn't be advertised to men. No, if they had enough women in video gaming, they wouldn't have to come put their fucking bullshit feminist article in Game Informer, the male chauvinist magazine. Because all of us gamers are male chauvinists. If we're a bunch of male chauvinist pigs, then guess what? We don't really give a fuck what you got to say in your article anyway. You're not going to prove a point to us anyway. Since we're all male chauvinist pigs, for loving our video games. Why is it striking? I have a friend who doesn't understand my love for Aloy. And I suspect it's because he has seen male leads express this type of confidence entire life. I want this sort of female character to be more commonplace and not something that stands out when I play a game, but it speaks loudly when so few female characters possess these abilities. You've never played
Have you ever played a fighting game? I mean, every fighting game I've ever played had a whole cast of female heroes that have kicked men's asses. Okay? And without the help of a man. You know? Now, some of these women, they have not beaten the final boss, but then again, some have. For instance, Soul Calibur 2. The winner of the Soul Calibur 2 game was Taki. A chick. An assassin. A female assassin. So, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's very feminine. She's very feminine. You know, I never see her act like a dude. Yet, she's very feminine. And a fucking killer. A slayer. Manslayer. Bayonetta. Same thing. I'm happy to see developers taking more chances in this area. The Last of Us, Ellie quickly became one of my favorite characters in 2013. When you finally control her during the winter section, it portrays her coming into her own, becoming confident enough to take care of herself. The coming of age moment is awesome. The Left Behind DLC made her even more interesting by exploring her identity as a young queer woman. See, they are even including your politics, your bullshit politics into their video games, just so bitches like you would stop crying. Even though there have already been gay superheroes and all this other shit, like Colossus, he's gay as hell, and he was one of my favorites for years. And I didn't just say, oh, Colossus is gay, now he's not my favorite no more. Colossus was still my favorite even after I found out he was gay. That didn't matter to me that he was fucking gay or, you know, any of these fucking feminist fucking ideologies. None of that shit mattered to me. I just like fucking I like Colossus because Colossus would come in, blow shit up, and blow everybody up and be in this full metal suit that he just shoots out of his skin and just start punching every fucking thing. Fucking queer woman. Like, I give a fuck if she's queer. The first game was very much Joel's story. So I'm looking forward to see how Naughty Dog explores her more in depth by letting her lead the narrative in the sequel. Naughty Dog also took a chance by letting Chloe Frazer take the reins from Nathan Drake, starring her own Uncharted adventure, teaming her up with headstrong Nadine Ross. And then what about Final Fantasy X-2, where with Yuna and Riku in Pain? Yuna, Riku, and Pain. You know, it seems like the only way women are gonna actually be happy is if we make stories that are all female led. No men around at all. But then eventually what's gonna end up being a problem with that is they're gonna be saying, well, they don't have proper clothing. You're just using these women to make them into male fantasies. Well, so what, bitch? So what? Jesus Christ. I tried to talk when the guy, the fucking guy who makes the video game, when he tried to talk to you as a little boy, you didn't want to have not a moment of time for that man. Now he has the opportunity to produce his own world where he could put you in it and have you doing all the shit he fantasized about you doing. He can actually now see it instead of just fantasizing about it. Well, there's nothing against the law for him producing a fucking sprite that looks like you. Nothing wrong. There's nothing against the law with that. You want to produce a sprite that look like you and have a sprite that look like him, look like he's fucking shoving his dick in her face. Oh, well, that's his computer. That's his fucking shit. If that's what the fuck he wants to do with it, that's what the fuck he wants to do with it. Don't buy it. How about that, ladies? Don't buy video games. How about that? How about you just stay out of the medium altogether? How about that? Leave us guys to our shit. Chance by letting Chloe Freedom, seeing these two women grow, headstrong, Nadine Ross, seeing these two women grow, learn from each other, and make a name for themselves in a male-dominant trade was exciting in its own right. Another powerful example is Wolfenstein 2's Grace Parker. See, it's crazy how she can, like, today pull up all of these different examples, whereas in her time she couldn't. When there was a Mrs. Pac-Man, and Miss Pac-Man was actually more fun than Pac-Man. Well, she couldn't name nothing in the 80s and 90s where female leads were kicking ass. No, she couldn't do that. As a no-nonsense black woman, she was not only a confident leader, but basically the brains behind the general operation of the resistance network. Her group went to her for answers and a plan, trusting her blunt honesty and unequivocally embracing her talents. Not to mention she's doing all of this while rearing a child, something often not depicted on screen. The fact that these traits are a rare sight for women in video games is sad, but the further lack of their presence in queer women or women of color is even worse. To be fair, Grace is just a side character in B.J. Blazkowicz's story. I can only think of a few striking leads in this vein, like Dishonored, Death of the Outsider, Billy, Lurk, Assassin's Creed Liberation's Eveline der Grandprix, and Mirror's Edge Faith. My overarching point is when you're in an underrepresented group, whether it's gender, race, or sexuality, portrayals in media can be extremely powerful and meaningful. Okay, well, let's just think about this for a second. So, underrepresented. When you say underrepresented, do you mean like based upon the percentage of that person, these kinds of people in the society? Because if that's what you mean, then queers are not underrepresented. People who are gay and LGBT and all this other shit, they only make up maybe 1 to 2% of the population. So then that would mean they should only be 1 to 2% of AAA titles characters. Meaning that, bitch, I'll never see these people. I'll never see them. Queer and lesbian. I'll never see any of them people. If I'm going by being underrepresented. You know? Black people, as far as black people are concerned, we're only 13% of the population. So 13% of the time, we should only be seen 13% of the time in games. Let's see. Gender. Yeah. Only 10% of the people who buy video games are women. Only 10% of the people who play video games are women. So I guess that means that women should only be 10% of the medium. So, women, gender, right? Women, 10%. Race, black people, 13%. And sexuality, LGBT, 2%. So altogether, that's 10, 13, that's 23. All right, 25%. So 25%, only 1/4 of all games. And it's not really even 25%. That's 10. That's one is 10%, one is 13, and one is 2. So it really should just be 10, 13, and 2. But I'm compounding it, putting them all together just to make a point. So that means basically in 1/4 of AAA titles should we see a black person. Or a lesbian. Or a woman. Only 1/4 of them. That means the full cast of all AAA games, of 3 out of 4 AAA games, should all the way be men. And then make, after we make 10 AAA games that are all men, we make fucking 2 games that got, blacks that are queer. And then you have another game that's women that are queer. And that'll clear it up. And then we'll see how many of those fucking lesbian, queer, black games that are just there for that. See how many of those fucking sell. Over my overarching point. Can be extremely powerful. I mean, this is especially important as the media we consume both shapes and reflects cultural stereotypes, something outlined by the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. Role models provide a blueprint for how we should behave, mimic the virtues we see as successful, therefore helps to see certain traits exemplified. And confidence is one attribute I find extremely valuable to see on screen. It sends the message that it's okay to stand up for yourself and be comfortable in your own abilities. As the Grena Davis Institute on Gender in the Media puts it, if she can see it, she can be it. So, because she sees Wonder Woman, she could be Wonder Woman. So, because I see Batman or Superman, that means I could be Batman or Superman. So that means not Bill Gates. The fuck is the guy who's in the wheelchair? Fucking Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking. So because he could read a book about Professor X, he could be Professor X. Not only that, but what happened to all of these years of feminist fucking ideology being thrown in our face on TV and movies? Women have seen plenty of strong women. I've been hearing it all my life, how strong women are. I ain't never see it, but I've been hearing it all my life. I hear it every day. I don't know how women don't hear it every day when men hear it every day. And bitches look for any fucking thing that men say. They be skimming through what men got to say to find any little tidbit. Now all of a sudden you mean to tell me you bitches can't skim through and find all of the times that women are spoken of as being confident and strong and beautiful and graceful? While gender representation has certainly improved, it actually has gone down now because we're overrepresenting women and shit. We still have a long way to go. A 2012 study conducted by Davis Institute still found troubling depictions of women across TV and film, with female characters often sidelined, stereotyped, and sexualized in popular entertainment. Well, if women didn't have a pussy, if sex wasn't there, what would women be able to do to keep men? What can women, in what medium do women entertain men without using sex? What medium? Name one medium where women are the ones that are the entertainment and they're doing it without sex. They don't have one medium where they can do that. The research concluded the only way to improve was for both genders to see female decision makers, political leaders, managers, and scientists as the norm, not the exception. By increasing the number and diversity of female leaders and role models on screen, content creators may affect the ambitions and career aspirations of girls and young women, domestically and internationally. Now, here's I wanted to say this little caveat to this thing, this part right here. Haven't we seen what happens when we focus more on having women in something than men? Generally, what ends up happening is the entirety of that system starts to decline, because the only people that are finishing that system are low quality people, because they're all women. For instance, school, prime example. Women are graduating more than men nowadays, yet a lot of industries are failing because they're not getting enough manpower. Manpower, not woman power, manpower. They're not getting enough manpower. They're not getting enough manpower. And then not only that, but then you're starting to see in schools where it's more and more women enrolling in the schools and less men. Now that's also bad for society, because women don't want men that have less money than them, or less education, or less whatever, right? If 80 to 90% of the people graduating college are women, and even though all of these women are getting bullshit like gender studies degrees and shit like that, but what's she doing? They're the ones who's graduating college more and more, which now leads to infidelity. Leads to infidelity, because what ends up happening is the guy, because it's 10% of the college class is men, all of those men, even the ugly ones, the low status men, are now having their pick of the litter. And there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that for the men, on the men's side, on those men's side, for the time being. But eventually what's going to end up happening is the men who did not graduate college, the men who want a good girl, who sees that they're all 90% of these women are going for those 10% men, and there ain't enough men to service all of these women, yet they still won't take one. They still won't even take a guy even like me, for instance, who I don't have a college degree, and I don't have a regular job. I work for myself. I sell oils and stuff, sell perfumes and stuff. Yeah, so a guy like me would be the one, and I'm a fighter too. So it's, I fight. So, here you are, Poindexter. You're getting them now because you're the only guy in college, right? And me personally, I don't want no girl that's somebody's leftovers. So if I keep on going to this college and looking for different bitches, and they all keep telling me they fucked Poindexter, eventually I'm gonna go stab Poindexter. And then who else is there? Who are you going? Oh, you going for Zach too? Okay, I'm gonna go stab Zach. See, what'll eventually happen is it's gonna become men who can't get laid are gonna go to them college campuses, kill the Poindexters, and take the young Ashleys. This is just the natural way of things. Everything progresses. And if men are not going to be able to get laid with women, because women want men who have college degrees, and most men are not getting college degrees, then yeah, eventually they're just going to be like, well, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to take some. I'm not going to keep asking. I'm just going to take it. So, research concluded the only way to improve was for both genders to see female decision makers, political leaders, managers, and scientists as the norm. Only problem with that is females are terrible decision makers. Just look at the boyfriends that they get. Okay, exactly. Political leaders, managers, and scientists as the norm, not the exception. But by increasing the number and diversity of female leaders and role models on screen, content creators may affect the ambitions and career aspirations of girls and young women domestically and internationally. As recently as last year, the Institute continued studies that found problematic portrayals of women, urging creators not to fall back on outdated stereotypes and show more women in leadership roles. My hope is that video game developers also take note of these findings and can also provide better female role models. Why don't women provide better female role models? Why do men have to provide better female role models? Why do we have to imagine it first before you actually do it first? Why don't you do it first? That way we could see it, and then we wouldn't have to imagine it. We would just use you as the female lead. We wouldn't have to imagine a female lead. We would just use you as the female lead. Doesn't that make sense? We don't have to imagine strong male leads because we've seen them. Everyone has seen them, including you, Kimberly Wallace. I wish I saw more empowered women growing up. Stop. So maybe it wouldn't have taken me so long to change my narrative about myself. Maybe if you just, I don't know, believed in yourself, like you would tell a guy to, when a guy is trying to holler at you and you tell him no and you say, well, you don't believe in yourself or you need to be yourself and all that bullshit, all that horse shit. Right? Right? You don't fuck him. Right? You don't give him what he came for to help boost his confidence. You tell him, get the fuck away from me and don't come back until your confidence is better. Which ain't gonna happen by him being told, get the fuck away from me constantly and don't come back till your confidence is better. That doesn't make your confidence better. Okay, by the way. But women do that every day. And then they want you as men to do something different. I want us to be in a place where this isn't something that needs to be praised, but is just par for the course. Same way we view confident male protagonists. I'm not saying we need to insert these types of characters in every game. I don't want Mary Sue's either. I want multi-dimensional characters, diverse offerings that challenge our perspective and perception. I also want developers to be aware that seeing positive representations on screen has a great effect on other women. It wouldn't be realistic for all female characters to have certainty in their abilities, nor would it be for them to be flawless. People are more complex than that. I just wish seeing a confident woman in video games felt more familiar, and hope we see more to get to that point. All in all, this bitch is retarded. GameStop, I'm about to cancel my subscription with y'all. If I see another article like this with Kimberly Wallace, if this bitch, y'all need to fire this bitch, Kimberly Wallace. This bitch. That's the bitch y'all need to fire. Now, I'm not saying that's what she looks like, but y'all see the article. The bitch who wrote this article is the bitch y'all need to fire. Okay? You need to fire her immediately. All right? Talk about some, what was this last thing she said? Oh, I want multi-dimensional character. When the last time you seen a woman that was multi-dimensional? Every bitch wants the same fucking thing. They all want money. They all want you to spend your money, you to work hard, you to risk your life for them. Right? That's what they want.